Says done on meeting summary send email. Notes. Bear with me, please. Webinar meetings. This is my first time.
So next to the share button at the bottom, Andi.
Yeah, sorry. It's been long time. Okay, let's see here. Advanced. Yes, yes, I got it now. Multiple. Yep, close. Yeah, you can now.
And now, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry. I think we have a master of ceremony in this for this occasion. So, are we starting now?
You want to start this now? And everyone?
Do we have a master of ceremony for this event?
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Okay.
Lisa here. Yes, Master of Ceremony for today.
All right. So, yeah. Should we wait like maybe 5 more minutes, 10 minutes, or what do you think? Okay, thank you. Yeah, all right. Is it okay if I record this session, everyone?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Good afternoon and good evening to all attendees joining us from various parts of the world. Welcome to the international webinar organized through the collaboration between the Center for Partnership and Innovation in Education Development and Early Childhood Teacher Education Department, Faculty of Education, Universitas Negeri Makassar, with the theme, Teaching Beyond Borders, Your Journey to an International Early Childhood Career. We are truly honored to have with us today distinguished speakers and participants from across the globe. My name is Sri Rika Amriani, and I will be your Master of Ceremony for today's event. Before we begin, allow me to guide you throughout our program. This is the opening session of our webinar, which will be held virtually. I kindly remind everyone to stay mute unless called upon and to use the chat box for questions or comments during the event. To formally commence our session, let us now listen to the national anthems of our participating countries, Indonesia and Australia.
We can't hear the song. Sorry.
Indonesia, tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu ibuku.
Indonesia, kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita bersama, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah
Thank you for the anthems. Now, we will hear the committee report from the organizing committee. Please welcome Tri Sugiyarti, SPC, MPD.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And warm greetings from Makassar, Indonesia. Distinguished Dean of Faculty of Education, Universitas Negeri Makassar, esteemed speakers, faculty members, students, alumni, and all participants joining us today. It is a great honor and joy for me to welcome you to this international webinar, Teaching Beyond Borders, Your Journey to an International Early Childhood Career. We are gathered here today across countries and time zones with one shared vision to explore global opportunities in early childhood education and to equip ourselves with great knowledge and tools to pursue them. This event is specially designed for early childhood education students, graduates, and anyone who dreams of building a meaningful international career, particularly in Australia. Today's session will provide not only information, but also inspiration from understanding visa processes, language preparation, and certification pathways to hearing first-hand experiences from our distinguished speaker. On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Dean of the Faculty of Education for the full support given to this event and to our incredible speakers who have generously made time to share their insights with us. To all participants, I hope you make the most of this opportunity to ask questions, take notes, and let this be a stepping stone toward your global teaching journey. As we often say, your future classroom could be anywhere in the world, and today you're one step closer to getting this. Thank you, and I wish you a meaningful and inspiring session ahead. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Thank you for the report, Ms. Tri Sugiyarti, SPC MPD. And now, it is my great honor to invite Professor Dr. Abdul Saman, MSE PhD Counselor, Dean of the Education Faculty, Universitas Negeri Makassar, to deliver the official welcome and opening remarks. Please, Professor.
Well, distinguished speakers, esteemed guests, and dear participants, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon to all of you joining from different corners of the world. It is both a pleasure and an honor to welcome you to today's international webinar organized the collaboration between the Center for Partnership and Innovation and Education Development and the Early Childhood Teacher Education Department, Faculty of Education, Universitas Negeri Makassar. Held under the inspiring themes, Teaching Beyond Borders, Your Journey to an International Early Childhood Career. This event invites us to imagine a new horizon and take bold steps toward making those dreams a reality. To all inspiring educators who have ever dreamed of teaching abroad, this for you. Today we offer not just inspiration, but also concentrated strategy from gaining the right qualification to understanding the language requirement and phase process. Tools that will prepare you to teach, grow, and lead in classroom around the globe. We are proud to be joined by a lineup of remarkable speakers. The first, Brendan Newell, Chief Operating Officer. And then Hary, Product and Channel Manager. And Dr. Andi Armawadjidah Marzuki, Multilingual Education Consultant. Selamat siang, Ibu Andi Armawadjidah. This
Thank
is
you.
from Universitas Negeri Makassar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am still part
You-
of UNM.
Yes. Thank you, dear speakers, for your generosity in sharing your expertise and experience with us. Your insight will do that speaks new ideas and open pathway for many. To all participants, thank you for joining us. Your presence reflects a shared vision for early childhood education and a collective commitment to its global development. I also extended my sincere appreciation to the organizing team from both the Center for Partnership in Innovation in Education Development and the Early Childhood Teacher Education Department for this dedication and hard work. Your collaborative effort have made today even both possible and meaningful. As we begin, let us remember the education no to boundaries. The classroom of the future is not limited by geography. It is defined by vision, confession, and excellence. May this webinar serve as a starting point for many international journeys in education. With that, I officially open this international webinar, Teaching Beyond Borders, your journey to an international early childhood career by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let the journey begin. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Abdul Saman, MSc, PhD counselor, for your inspiring words. At this point, we would like to share a special video that highlights the vision, mission, and key achievement of our early childhood department. Please take a moment to watch the following presentation.
Early childhood education programs produce graduates who are competitive in the job market. To ensure the graduates have a strong, learning foundation and are relevant to the needs of the current workforce, it is essential to develop responsive and innovative curricula provide educate practical experience, and build collaboration with educational practitioners. Additionally, the integration of soft skill training, encouragement for research and innovation, and offering continuing education are crucial. With this approach, graduates will be equipped with the knowledge and skills necessary to succeed in the early childhood education field.
The teaching strategies are employed by lecturers to develop early childhood education candidates include a
Okay. Thank you for watching the department profile video. This brings us to the conclusion of the opening ceremony. We extend our heartfelt gratitude, Professor Dr. Abdul Saman, MSc, PhD Counselor, for officially opening today's event, as well as to all of you, our distinguished guests and participants, for your attendance this afternoon. As we now move forward with the main session of the day, we encourage everyone to remain engaged as we listen to our esteemed speakers who will be sharing their knowledge and expertise. We will begin the first session shortly, but before that, let's take a quick break to capture a group photo with everyone here, okay? Please turn on your cameras for a virtual group photo. Let's commemorate this event together. Okay, on the count of 3, let's all smile. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, and smile. Next. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Next. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay. Next. Next. Okay. Let's begin. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. With that, we conclude the opening ceremony. The first session will begin momentarily. So please stay tuned. Thank you, and let's invite the moderator, Miss Delvina Manga, SPD MED. Please, Miss Delvina. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and warm greetings to everyone. Welcome to our online webinar titled Teaching Beyond Borders, Your Journey to an International Early Childhood Career. This event is designed to help you gain the skills, support, and international qualifications you need to begin a global journey in early childhood education. So whether you're planning to teach abroad or simply just exploring international opportunities, this session will offer expert guidance on things like visa requirements, language preparation, and more. So we truly appreciate your presence and enthusiasm in joining us today. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Delvina Manga. I'm a lecturer at Early Childhood Education Department in Universitas Negeri Makassar, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. We are very honored today to have with us our distinguished speakers, Mr. Brendan Newell, the Chief Operating Officer from KKTC, and also Mr. Hary, the Product and Channel Manager from KKTC, and also Dr. Andi Armawadjidah Marzuki, a multilingual education consultant from Hypen Education. And before we begin, please be informed that there will be a Q&A session after the presentation, and so also feel free to prepare your questions for our speakers. Hary and you may type them in the chat box during the talk, or you can raise your hand virtually when the presentation over and the discussion session is open. So without further delay, let us warmly welcome Mr. Brendan Newell to deliver the presentation. Mr. Newell, the floor is yours.
Terima kasih, Delvina. Wow, what an amazing introduction. Thank you to everyone who's made the time this afternoon to give their time and energy to this presentation. We think we have a very exciting presentation for you today. In Australia at the moment, there are so many opportunities to work in the early education and childhood sector. And this afternoon, Hary and myself will do our very best to give you all of the key information. I do want to start by saying a big welcome to all of the faculty members. Thank you to Professor Dr. Abdul Saman. I really appreciate the very kind introduction to all faculty, to staff members, to all students and interested parties joining us today. We send you a very warm welcome from Australia. Hary and myself are based on the Gold Coast. We'll show you some beautiful videos and pictures of the Gold Coast where we are located today. But it's very nice to have you on board, and we do encourage you to take some notes during the session. We will have an extensive question and answer session at the end. So please feel free to, at the end of the session, ask those questions, and we'll do our very best to answer those questions for you. I'm just going to share my screen now, so I'm just going to ask that you give me a little bit of a thumbs up to make sure that you can see the screen. Can everyone see that screen now? I'm sharing the screen. Is that coming up? Yeah, can see that okay? No problem. So I'm going to move through our presentation.
It's coming out.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you can see that the topic today is teaching beyond borders, your journey to an international early childhood career. If you are currently studying at university in Indonesia, early childhood and education, I say to you, congratulations, because you have picked an amazing career path with huge opportunities. Today, we're going to spend some time providing some guidance for you on how extensive those opportunities are in Australia, because it's certainly a fantastic time to not only get into the sector, but also to start exploring opportunities to work in Australia. And today, we want to give you some information around how you could possibly do that to explore a career living and working overseas. Like I said, very, very exciting time to be in the sector. I myself have numerous qualifications, including a master's in education. So I consider myself an education professional like you all online, and it's very much a pleasure to be able to explain to you the current situation in Australia and how you can expand your horizons. There you can see is my role. Hary and I both work for a business called KKTC Education in Australia. We're a very unique business because we focus specifically on ECEC qualifications. There are many other institutions that do lots of different qualifications. We specialise, and we have hundreds of trainers all over the country in Australia, and we have thousands of students that we train each and every day. And it's a very unique training model that I'll explain to you today as well. So the key ideas that we want to go across with you today are, first of all, looking at the Australian early childhood education and care landscape, meaning what is it like in Australia to work in the sector? We're then going to give you some hints on how to gain employment in Australia as an early childhood educator. And then we're going to give you some more information around, if you're studying your bachelor's degree, what are the opportunities that you can pursue in terms of coming to Australia to give students like yourselves a new perspective on pursuing international employability opportunities? I'll then pass over in our presentation to Hary. He is the coordinator of our international students programs, and he's going to describe to you some of the international pathways, because there are multiple entry points into the sector if you wanted to live and work in Australia as a childcare educator. So some of those models include CRICOS, fee for service and study tours, which we'll explain to you. CRICOS is an acronym that Hary will describe in a little bit, but we will describe all those different pathways for you very shortly. Here's a quick video of our beautiful campus. Thank you for watching that wonderful little video. I always enjoy watching that video because it really warms my heart to see all the smiling faces from our amazing international students. So in that video, what you saw a bunch of international students who are in Australia. So they have study visas to be studying in Australia, and they come to us to learn specifically the qualifications to get into the early childhood sector. So you can see some of what their experience is like. They have a requirement to attend class every week, and you can see those students in that video. We're in our brand new facility here on the Gold Coast, which is a fantastic location, also a location for our study tours that we hold as well. So let's start by looking at part number 1, the Australian EC landscape. First of all, this is an exciting time to become a childcare worker in Australia for the number one biggest reason: there are so many jobs in Australia right now. If you are a childcare worker, you can see at the moment, so at this present moment in time, in Australia, we are short. So we need about 21,000 educators immediately now in centres. Within that, you can see there's also an additional 9,000, what we call ECTs, early childhood teachers. So if you're studying in Indonesia at a university and you gain a bachelor's in early childhood care and education, you would qualify to then become what we call an ECT, an early childhood teacher. So very exciting time, like I said, in Australia, because there are so many employment opportunities to work in childcare centres. The next thing you can see there is currently in Australia, there is about 15,000 approved childcare centres, most of them in the key cities. I'm sure you've all heard of Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth. We operate in most of those cities across Australia, and our head office is located right here in the beautiful sunny Gold Coast. But the other thing to remember in this sector is within Australia, the governments and companies are very much encouraging females to move into the workforce. Now, as they encourage females to move into the workforce, what that actually means that there's going to be a greater and greater requirement for parents to put their children into childcare centres. So not only are there a very large number of jobs available in Australia at the moment, that requirement is growing and growing every single week. So on top of those 15,000 centres, there are more and more centres being opened all the time. We work with some of the biggest childcare groups, and they're opening new centres every month, and we are able to connect you with those centres and look at different opportunities for employment. Here's a little example, because we said to you there's lots of jobs available. Earlier today, Hary jumped on one of the job boards, and you can see there, he just looked in Sydney, and you can see that there are straight away 679 jobs available in Sydney alone in Australia for workers that have been advertised. So they're advertised jobs, and you can see I've highlighted some of the areas there. The salaries are quite generous in Australian terms, Australian salaries, and you can even see I've highlighted there, one organisation is even giving $1,000 bonus to join the organisation. So there's lots of incentives, there's lots of opportunities, there's lots of jobs available in Australia. So it's a very exciting time to be an ECEC educator in centres. So how do you gain employment in Australia? It's a very interesting sector. You can see I've highlighted 3 different things there. To work in Australia in the ECEC sector, you must hold one of the 3 following qualifications. Either your Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care. So this is the entry point. This is the minimum requirement to work in a centre. Many of the students who study with us do this qualification. The next step up is then the Diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care. So many of our students, once they finish their Certificate 3, they will progress on to learn more about the sector and do the diploma. And then you have the 3rd qualification, which is, I'm sure a lot of you are studying the Bachelor of Early Childhood Teaching or Bachelor of Early Childhood Education and Care. You can see there we have equivalent. So in Australia, if you had an international qualification, like a qualification from Indonesia, we'll show you soon how you go through the process of getting that recognised as an equivalent qualification. So here at KKTC, you can see people start off at the Certificate 3. They start off in this specific area, yeah? And then they move on to their diploma. Once they've done their diploma, They then have to do some mandatory training around child protection, first aid, food safety. We then have a leadership program for students, and also they then can move on to the graduate diploma. So many of the people online today will be studying a bachelor's degree in early childhood teaching. You can either come in and do a graduate diploma, or you can get your qualification recognised, but there's nothing to stop you from coming into the entry point and doing a certificate 3 as well. So there's a number of different entry points for someone studying a bachelor's degree overseas. So first of all, the question is, what does it look like if you want to enter into the sector at the very first entry level? It means you have to enrol in a certificate 3 in early childhood education. So this is nationally recognised in Australia. We have many students doing this qualification. It takes them about 12 months. And when they do this qualification, what they're going to do is they're going to actually access the and develop the skills that they need to look after children's wellbeing, learning and development. And you can see that there's a number of standards in Australia, national standards that they are aligned with as well. After that, you can progress on to your diploma of early childhood education. For educators advancing into leadership roles, this is going to help them develop the skills in creating inclusive, high-quality programs, focusing on the children's development and managing their learning environments. It's also going to help them prepare for roles like lead educator and centre managers. And we also see a lot of roles available in these senior postings within childcare centres. Again, mainly because there's such a huge need in Australia for early childhood educators. This is a good way to enhance your career opportunities in the sector if you've done the diploma. And then many of you will, in fact, already be studying your Bachelor of Early Childhood Teaching. So this is a professional qualification for teaching roles within the settings. So this focuses on advanced childhood development, curriculum design, and inclusive education. Many of you will be familiar with this because you're studying a lot of this at university at the moment. The career paths here include ECT, or Early Childhood Teacher, Educational Leader, or Centre Directors if you have a bachelor's qualification. And this opens up many opportunities for leadership and specialised teaching roles. We also have a program called a Graduate Diploma of Management and Learning. So if you wanted to advance your career, if you had a bachelor's, this would be a very good next step qualification for you to do. Because that graduate diploma is people who've already graduated with their bachelor's degree. And then they're looking at how do they expand their leadership capability to learn how to design experiences by stepping into leadership and training roles, how to build expertise on the organisational learning, the strategic leadership and the staff development aspects. But it also helps you contextualise the early childhood sector material in that specific context. So this qualification is ideal for those people aspiring to be centre directors, education leaders and training coordinators. We find this qualification really useful because it equips graduates to lead professional learning and drive continuous improvement across the services. And it's worth pointing out here, a lot of these directors will often have an area of responsibility. So some of the centre groups that we deal with will have tens, if not hundreds of different centres across the country. So there's definitely lots of opportunity to advance your career. As I said at the beginning, a very, very exciting time to be studying in the sector. Lots of opportunity for you. So this comes back to that international pathway that we've talked about. If you're studying degree, the graduate diploma could be a next path, or you could actually do your certificate 3, as I said, about a 12-month program. But there's multiple pathways for you entering into the sector with your bachelor's degree. KKTC, I'll very quickly tell you about us. We're very specialist training providers, as we said to you. We think we have some of the best trainers in industry. Most of them have actually worked as educators. Our model of training is very unique because most of the study is done by students online, and then they get employment into a centre and they do their practical assessment in centre. So once they're enrolled, they can access the online portal straight away, and that online portal looks like this. So it's a very user-friendly interface, and they study each of their different units in that online portal. Once they've done that, they will then be working in the centre straight away, and it's the practical units and the practical learning they do in the centre that's the most valuable part. They get allocated a trainer and assessor, and they mentor and coach them in the workplace. So most of our students actually have jobs already. they apply for, they get a job with the centre, then they enrol with us. So they actually get the ability to earn money whilst they're doing their study and their learning. Why that's a really good model is because they do a lot of extensive learning within the centre. So over a 12-month period for the Certificate 3, our assessors will go and visit them while they're working in the centre, and they'll observe them doing all of the different tasks. So for each of the different units of competency that reside in the qualifications, they have practical requirements associated with them. So we have a very unique model because our students are very early working in the sector, and our trainers and assessors go and visit them in that workplace and work with them in those centres to complete their assessments. We have some of the best resources. It's a very engaging online environment. And unlike other training or universities in Australia, we have what's called a rolling intake. So you don't need to wait for the start or the end of a semester. If you wanted to start training with us, you can start at any point in time because we can get you into the online portal. We'll find you a centre to become a partner with, and we'll get you working in that centre so that you're learning online and you're learning within the centre at exactly the same time. So it's a very unique model, and it's a very successful model because you learn extensively through the engagement with children in the centres and with the staff, and by doing the activities that you're learning about as part of your studies. So that practical element is a very big component of our studies. As I said to you, that's the portal. That's what that online portal looks like. So you will complete your questions here, knowledge questions, some multiple choice questions, answer your information here. Your trainer or assessor marks it, and then they'll come and observe you in the centre doing the tasks associated with each one of the units. Okay, so what we're going to look at next is some of the opportunities for you as a student. There's multiple entry points. One of the big emphasis here is really the practical learning. So as an international student, you can actually participate in a study tour where you can come to Australia. We'll embed you into centres, and that will allow you to learn from those centres while you're doing your study. So you learn a huge amount by interacting with other staff members and educators, interacting with children and so on. The CRICOS there is our model for onshore study primarily. So if you're a student who has a student visa, you relocate to Australia, you can enter the CRICOS program to do the same qualifications. And then we also have what we call university articulation. We have recognition with Australian universities as well, so that once you study with us, you can go to those universities and get some recognition of some of the work you've already done, some of the studies you've done, and that will give you some credit transfer. So you have multiple opportunities there. I'm now going to show you, because I've been talking way too much, some of the fantastic testimonials from our international students and why they like to study with us. And then I'm going to hand over to Hary, and Hary's going to give you a brief on some of those entry points into study with KKTC, and therefore how you can get into the ECEC sector by doing qualifications with KKTC education.
I decided to come to Australia because I was looking a nice place to do exchange. When I was searching, I listened that Australia people are really very welcome with international students.
I came to Australia because I love children and I wanted to learn how to take care of children in English. And Gold Coast has very beautiful natural environment. That's why I came to Gold Coast.
I study childcare because I have a connection with children. I think children from 0 to 5 years old is the most important age in their lives.
When I am working with children, I feel really enchanted, you know? So I'm always having fun, enjoying and learning more and more.
I like KKTC because I feel like in my own home, you know, because I can know different people from the different countries. The teacher I love her. She's amazing.
I think teachers are very helpful. When I have some question, they always help me to find a solution.
I'm really enjoying my time here.
Now I'm going to pass over to Hary, and he's going to pick up the rest of this presentation. Just let me reset the sharing of my screen.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
Thank you, Hary.
All right. So now I'm just going to run through the first entry point that Brendan mentioned, which is the CRICOS, which is one of our international student pathways. So CRICOS, what it really means is that you need, in Australia, you have CRICOS accredited organisations, which KKTC is one. And the CRICOS organisations allow you to, when you're in Indonesia or in Australia, for example, you can apply for a student visa to come and study one of our courses. So you can see here, we have the Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care, which Brendan mentioned is the kind of introductory course to early childhood education here in Australia. And we have the Diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care, which is the more advanced and it gives you more access to high-level roles in an early childhood centre here in Australia. So the average week for an international student studying one of our courses looks like 1 day of class per week from 8:30 to 2:30 in our Southport campus, which is what you would have seen in the video earlier, and 2 days per week of placement in a childcare centre. So we arrange the placement in the childcare centre, and we do complete placement in probably around 80 to 90 centres on the Gold Coast at the moment. So the benefits of CRICOS, it allows you to live, work and study on the Gold Coast in Australia, which you saw from the videos is quite a beautiful place. In the context of learning, you're able to gain work experience in the best Australian early childhood education and care centres that we have to offer. And at the end of your qualification, you'll gain nationally recognised qualification, allowing you to work in any child education and care service here in Australia. Next slide, please, Brendan. The second option you have is an international study tour. Now, practical work experience is really important for early childhood education and care courses here in Australia. So our courses heavily rely on the practical work experiences that our students receive. And it's 50% of the entire courses that you study here revolve around the practical placement. So a part of that would allow you to come to Australia for a short-term stay, gain that practical work experience that you may need for maybe when you return back home, or if you're looking to come and stay in Australia. And at the same time, you get to learn about Australian history, different culture, and experience the Australian way of life on the sunny Gold Coast. The next option for you is going through something called a CEQA and getting your qualification recognised. So a CEQA is the governing body for early childhood education and care here in Australia. And they're the ones that would assess your qualification that you receive from your university at the moment. And then they'd be the ones to assess it when you come to Australia. Next slide, please, Brendan. Thank you. All right. So there's two ways to apply for recognition of your overseas early childhood teaching qualification. The first one is via your institution, and your institution would need to apply to have their qualification recognised by a CEQA. But the second option is by the individual, which is you as the student. And this is probably more relevant for you guys. So the first step is qualification, or called qualification levelling. And what that means is a CEQA will set a benchmark of Australian qualifications, and that they'll benchmark your qualification, and they'll compare them. So, for example, your qualification might be relevant or equivalent to a Bachelor of Early Child here as well. It just depends on some of the key requirements. So one big part of that is the supervised practical placement. Australia and the CEQA require this as part of the levelling process and the assessment process. So it forms a big part of getting your current qualification compared. The second is English proficiency. This is less important to the placement, but it's still an important factor to consider. So basically, all you need to do is gather a bunch of evidence, and then you can submit an application to a CEQA via their online portal, and then it takes a couple of months to get this looked at and then get an answer. All right. So here's another slide about the ASEQA process. So you can see here, it's got a nice red box around it, the supervised professional experience during qualification. So ASEQA requires you to have at least 45 days of supervised professional experience for any of the early childhood teaching qualifications. This must include 10 days of supervised professional experience with children aged birth to 3, and a significant number, at least 30 days in early childhood settings with children aged 3 before they start formal schooling. ASEQA will consider the different elements to satisfy these specific elements. This might be work experience, typically 3 to 6 months with children birthed under 3, and then a completion of an ASEQA approved certificate 3. So, for example, you complete a certificate 3 with KKTC, and this would satisfy that supervised professional experience during the qualification. And another option would be a study tour, where at the end, you've completed your 45 days of placement, and then you get a certificate saying, you've completed that time. Brendan, anything I've missed on this one?
No, absolutely perfect. Thank you, Hary.
Great. This second slide here talks about the different components of what is assessed and the different areas. So you can see here on the left-hand side, we've got education and curriculum studies. And two important components of that is the early years learning framework and the Australian curriculum. So the early years learning framework is specific to Australia. So it's unlikely that when completing a certificate or a bachelor's overseas that you would have learned anything about the early years learning framework specific to the Australian context. The second is the Australian curriculum, once again, going to be very specific to the Australian education system. The second area is early childhood professional practice, and these are a few different elements that are required. And once again, they're quite unique and specific to Australia, so it's unlike to have received that from offshore. And completing, a certificate 3 or a study tour can kind of help you understand these different elements. And then there's evidence that you have an understanding of it as well once you complete the placement. Right. So we're going to have a look at country assessment levels. And this is an important aspect, and I'm sure Andi will add on to this a little bit later on. But you can see here we've got a list. Indonesia's at the top and assessment level 1. And what that means is that when you're applying for a visa as an Indonesian, you're going to be more likely to have your visa approved because the Australian government has kind of segmented different lists, and you can see you're at the very top. So that's great. This is just going to make it a little bit easier and maybe the process a little bit quicker for you to get a visa here in Australia. Whether that might be a CRICOS visa, like I said, studying and coming to live in Australia and study at the same time, or even for a study tour or things like that as well. All right, so we've covered 3 different important topics here. Sorry, I've covered 2 and then Brendan's covered 1 of them. So there's the practical learning study tour, which is an opportunity for you to come and experience Australia as well as the early childhood education system here. And then there's the second, which is the International Certificate 3 CRICOS option. And Brendan's going to go into a little bit more detail about the graduate diploma in management shortly.
Thank you very much, Hary, for a fantastic explanation on some of the international pathways. I really appreciate that. I just want to round out some of the information today, because if you're considering some of these different pathways, if you have your Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, we actually offer this graduate diploma program. We just thought it would be a good time to show you there's only 8 units to cover in the graduate diploma qualification, and you can see those units are listed there. There's 3 core units, so contributing to the development of learning and development stages, leading strategic transformation, implementing improved learning practice. So we start to get now to those higher critical thinking type aspects of understanding working in the sector. But what you'll find is a combination of factors. So Hary's mentioned to you, and he probably should have made a bigger song and dance about it, because the fact that Indonesia is considered an assessment level 1 country is actually really, really significant, because it just means that, as Hary said, you're much more likely to get visa approval in Australia. And as a lot of people would understand, sometimes that can be challenging. And again, I'm sure Andi will give us more information about that later. But the good news is, number 1, Indonesia being that assessment level 1 increases your chances, as does doing a graduate diploma qualification. one of those qualifications that's both highly regarded, very useful for you to go work in the sector, but it also increases your chances of getting visa and maintaining that visa throughout your stay in Australia. So very exciting times. We actually want to move very quickly now into the question and answer session. We've already been talking to you for about an hour now. So please feel free to ask any questions about international studies or working as childcare educators in Australia or anything else we've discussed today. If you can't think of anything to ask us questions about, you can also always ask us things about, is it easy to get Indonesian food in Australia? And the answer is, yes, it is. Hary knows that I love my Indonesian food. So you'll find that there's a lot of pockets of Indonesians that live in Australia quite happily. Beef rendang is definitely my favorite. I love beef rendang. Also, in terms of your religious beliefs, Australia is considered a very multicultural country, so it's very easy to practice as a Muslim or a Christian, whatever your beliefs are in Australia. You're often encouraged to practice your beliefs freely. If you want to ask us information around travelling to Australia, what the climate's like, transportation, we have a fairly good public transport network in Australia. A lot of, very good highways and roads to travel on car as well. So if you get stuck with questions, please feel free to ask us about any of those specific areas. I know that we are going to move to a question and answer session very quickly, but if you do want to get in contact with us, the website is kktc.com.au. You can see our email addresses there. If you'd like to ask more questions or find out some more information about how KKTC can help you provide a pathway to Australia, then please reach out to Hary or myself. That's the end of the presentation that we've got in the sense of the PowerPoint presentation, but we'd now like to open it up to hand over back to the Master of Ceremonies to take us on to the next part of today's fantastic webinar.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Brendan and Mr. Hary.
Tunggu dulu,
That was
itu
such an insightful and inspiring presentation, and
itu
it's a
itu
lot to take
sertifikat,
in.
ada Ji semua tanda
But
tangan
it is
digitalnya
very
anak-anak toh.
interesting. I
Ada Ji
think
toh?
most of our
Tidak perlu
students
lagi
here
diarahkan
are
lihat tanda tangan digital sama stempel.
taking the course in your institution.
Mana
So
lu sih?
from what I can summarize, so KKTC is basically an institution that will help students who will work in early childhood education institutions in Australia, and it's basically they need to study for over a period of time to get a diploma or graduate from courses that will help them to later be an early childhood education teachers. Yeah. Okay. So I'm still waiting for some questions. Please write, if you want to ask question, you can write your questions in the chat box, or you can ask in Indonesian, it's fine. And we'll translate them for you. So if you have question, please feel free to ask us. I have a question actually for me. So the visa for when you're studying in your institution, will we get study visa like for education, right? Correct? Will we get the support to actually find some employment in Australia after we finish our course?
This is a very good question. The nice thing about working with our organisation is what happens is, the short answer to your question is yes. What happens is when you come on either a study tour or when you do a qualification with us, because there's such a big emphasis on the practical learning, often what happens is before you've even finished your studies, those students will actually get a job with a centre. So we have a network of hundreds of centres that we work with, and through that network of hundreds of centres, we quite often we often get approached by those centres who say, do you have any good graduates who are looking for opportunities to work? So absolutely, we can connect you up. In fact, we very, very often get requests from centres saying, do you know any good graduates? But the nice thing about the model is we find most of the graduates, before they've even graduated, have a secured employment with a centre.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. How about the visa for when you're an employee in Australia? while we're studying, of course, we're going to have the student visa. Will be there any support for after the study with the visa?
Yeah.
Another question. But go, Harry. You go first, please.
So it really depends on what courses you do. So most of our students at the moment do the Certificate 3, and then they go on to do their diploma, kind of in like a bit of a dual package. So most of them then become eligible for a postgraduate work visa, which gives them around 18 months of extra time in Australia, which then they can reassess their options, and then they can go on and maybe study another course, or they might gain sponsorship at a centre.
Okay,
Just
thank
to
you
add
so
to-
much for the answer. We have
Just to
a
add
question.
again,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, please, Drew, just to add what Harry was saying there, because I think it's very important. We also have a number of centres that we're talking to at the moment that have allocated sponsorship places. So they already have a number of, and sometimes, one of the centre groups has 100 places there sitting there for sponsorships that they're ready to offer. What's interesting is primarily those offers are going to people who have a bachelor's degree, not the Cert 3 diploma, but bachelor's is the preferred model, which I think is interesting for you. But there are other multiple individual visa options that you can then explore after you finish your study and doing your qualification.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. We have some questions here from Indrawati Aspa. So the first one is there a minimum age to join the course? And the second one is the course only from those graduating from early childhood education background, or can those from different background register to the course?
Yeah. The first point, the minimum age is 18 for that one. So for any of our courses, you need to be 18 to enroll as an international student. But for a study tour, that's probably a different story. If you're coming to do a study tour, then there's probably no minimum age requirement. And the second point is the course only from those graduating from an early childhood education background? The answer is no. For any of our courses, you don't need any experience. Obviously, it always helps. You might have a little bit of experience in the past, and that might assist you in Australia. But no, you don't need any. Trainers and assessors look after the students, and they make the process pretty easy. So, and each centre has their own orientation and onboarding process too.
And we have
To
some other
Harry's point
questions.
there,
Yep.
again, Shreya, I just want to add in another point there. The other answer to give to that question is that graduate diploma qualification. You can also have a graduated bachelor's degree from multiple other degrees. It doesn't have to be from the ECC sector. So kind of complements Harry's answer that the graduate diploma pathway also allows for students outside of doing the bachelor's degree in ECC as well.
Okay, so prior education doesn't really matter for this course?
It's not a requirement to enter the course, that is correct.
Okay. There's another question about, so the minimum age is 18. How about the maximum age? Is there any limit? No?
No.
No. Okay. Well, we also have another question from Ibu Widya. Ibu Widya, please unmute your speaker so we can hear you talking.
Okay, thank you, moderator, for your opportunity. Thank you. I'm interested with you mentioned about multi-entry. Yeah, about multi-entry.
That's correct.
And you mentioned too about the credit transfer.
Correct. So there's a number of different ways in which a student, it really is very much a case-by-case basis. So it would depend on what a student comes to Australia with. As Hary described previously, it may be that if a CEQA has previously assessed your qualification, they'll look at that qualification and say, oh, yes, we've already assessed that qualification. It meets equivalency. They'll give you a tick, and then you have a valid qualification. So that's an easy pathway in. Then it becomes more difficult. So if you need a student visa to do study on shore, that's one pathway as well. Or you can find out different visa options and different sponsorships. So there really are multiple ways to come in. We often try and work with, and I don't know if Andi's still online, but Andi's probably a great one to talk to from HIFA.
Yes, I'm online.
What they are. Go, Andi. I think this is you. I don't know if you have any more advice, Andi, on the multiple entry points for students coming into Australia.
Oh yes, yeah, that's part of my presentation, but I'm happy to answer that. So the questions about multiple entry in terms of the qualification, or sorry,
Into
can you
Australia, Andy. So if a student graduated from the university with a bachelor's degree, they would then have, multiple ways that they could come and explore
Yes,
a
yes,
career in
there is
Australia.
multiple ways. Yeah, that will be part of my presentation, but I'm happy to. Yes, I can explain that a very simple one. Yes, there is a multiple way of entering Australia. Yep, with your qualification or without your qualification, definitely. But maybe first listen to my presentation, then you will be able to understand detail, because Hary did cover a bit about that he mentioned the word visa. Okay, yes, I can explain that later. So hold the questions, Ibu Widya, yeah? I'll
Yes.
definitely happy to explain that.
Okay, thank you, Mama. I will wait your explanation.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Widya and Ibu Andi. And actually, I have a lot of questions regarding this. I'm not sure if you're going to talk about this later, but we want to know. I'm particularly curious about the fee for these courses, because I can see that the study period range differently. Some are only 38 weeks and some are 58. So if you can give us any, how much do we need to spend to get into the course?
Yeah, so I can
There he is. There's Hary.
Yes. So there's a few different answers to that question. So what you're looking at there with the 38 weeks and the 56 weeks, that's for our CRICOS option, where you come to Australia and you live and work here, either for around 9 months or just over a year. So hang on, I'll just get up my spreadsheet quickly. So the most popular option, which is the dual qualification, that's around 23,000 for both the Certificate 3 and diploma. And that just ranges just under 2 years.
The reason Hary says there's multiple answers, because that would be the most expensive option. But there may be, if you could come to Australia and you already had a pre-approved SQL qualification, you'd have to pay your application fee, but you may not need to do additional study. So Hary's kind of given you, that's the worst case scenario. The other part of that is, of course, that we offer study tours as well, so students can come, they can gain their experience at a study tour, which again is a much cheaper option. And then again, we talked before about connecting them with employers, because part of that study tour is them working in centres. There's a very good chance that those centres will take interest in the individuals and talk to them about different types of sponsorship or employment models that may be on offer at that centre group.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the answer. Now, I think it's time to move on from our first and second speakers. Now, we'll like to welcome Ibu Dr. Andi Marzuki to do the presentation. Ibu Andi, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Can I just, because it's urgent, okay. It's urgent call, sorry. Okay. Okay, I'll share my presentation. I am sorry, I can't answer now. I'm in the meeting. Okay, bear with me, please. So, some of the questions will be covered here. My presentation will be a bit short because I'm just expecting that maybe you will ask questions instead of me explaining everything. Maybe some of that will be too much and you don't need that. So just bear with me, please. Okay, window. Not this one. Where is that? This one. I think this one. Okay, bear with me, please. Please let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, sorry, I have to change, not that one. Sorry, not this one. Okay, bear with me, please. Okay. I'm a bit nervous. So, window. Okay, this one's yeah. Okay, so if you can see, let me know. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, we can
Can you
see.
see it now?
Not in the
Yes, I see.
whole module.
Oh, this is a problem.
This is a problem.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Insert. I don't understand. Wait, bear with me. Okay. I don't know. This is the first time I'm using Zoom after a while. Okay, we use. Okay, let's see. Okay. Wait. Sorry. Chrome tab. Okay, window. Okay. Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Still
now?
not?
Yeah.
Now? Or how about now? Can you see now?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, I'll start now. So I think that I'm also working. Let me introduce myself. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. For this one, I'm representing Hyphen, is the education agent that I am working, and I establish, and I work also with Pusat Bahasa. Now, the education agent, as you can see, I'm qualified education agent counselor, and you can see my license number there and my Australian business number. Now, the reason I'm putting this here, okay, it's very important. I'm going to speak very slowly, that you need to make sure every time that you are interested to go to Australia, and anytime you hear someone say, oh, you want to work in Australia, I can help you, you have to make sure, ask them, what is your license number? Are you qualified? What is your Australian business number? So this is the most important things, that you have to make sure that it's legit or legal. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes? Is it clear? Okay, so you have to make sure that it's legal and all right? And the next one is that I am myself also working in Makassar State University. I am still working as a lecturer, but for some reason I have to, there is a documents issue, so I temporarily stopped teaching. All right, but I am a qualified education counselor. So let's start this one. This is the one that currently very happening, like last month I hear, or last 2 months, the tagline, kabur aja dulu. So I hear kabur aja dulu, and then this one, kabur aja dulu, is a trend that Indonesians starting to feel frustrated. They think that Indonesia is no longer livable because it's very hard to get a job, right? Well, can you kabur to Australia? That's the question. And you have heard Brendan talking about there is lots of job here, all right? Australia is coming, we are hiring, right? Can I work and live in Australia? Are you still with me?
Yes.
Okay. So can I work and live in Australia? Okay, let's start with this one. Okay, this is Adi Maulana. Looks like Gibran. I don't know why I choose this picture. Okay, so Adi wants to kabur to Australia, and let's get
know him a little bit more. So Adi Maulana completed Bachelor in Education, Makassar State University, no work experience, first graduate. Okay, Adi is quite good English, 5.5. And Adi said, no, maybe just I want to work in Australia, maybe in a cafe, maybe administration, because I don't have experience in a childcare center, but I want to work in a cafe. Do you think Adi can work and come to Australia and work? I want to ask the audience.
Maybe.
Do you think he can work in Australia? Okay, he got bachelor, he got IELTS. Can he work in Australia?
Maybe.
Maybe? How? What kind, like how to, do anyone know the word visa? I think Hary mentioned the word visa. Visa itu izin masuk ke Australia.
As long as he has visa. Yes.
As long as he has visa, correct. Okay, maybe as long as he has visa. All right, let's continue now. Yep, okay. Now, he has no work experience. English level might not meet working visa, unfortunately. Yeah, and if Adi wants to work in Australia, not study, I'm just mentioned work in Australia, bekerja di Australia, apakah Adi itu qualified? Bisa tidak Ali? Bisa nggak Ali kerja di Australia dengan Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, sarjana pendidikan dari
Bisa.
Oke, bisa?
Bisa. Yang penting dia ada skill.
Yang penting dia ada skill.
Berbahasa Inggris.
Bisa berbahasa Inggris. Oke, Adi punya IELTS 5,5. Ya, bisa. Oke. Thank you. Nah, sekarang why it's muted, sorry. The problem is kalau tadi menyimak penjelasan dari Hary, oke, untuk bekerja di Australia itu bukan IELTS 5,5, tetapi IELTS paling tidak 7,5. 6 oke lah, masih bisa dimaafkan. Tetapi poinnya akan sangat rendah. Jadi IELTS Adi harus 7,5 dulu. Jadi jawabannya tidak bisa. Karena pertama tersangkut masalah bahasa Inggris. Dan kedua, Adi tidak punya pengalaman kerja. Meskipun Adi punya banyak skill. Kenapa? Karena di point skill assessment, Adi, kalau kita, let me just go to the immigration website. Okay, let's just see here. Now let's go to the immigration website. Can you see the immigration website? Can you see the immigration website? Hello?
Not yet.
Yes.
Not yet? Okay, let me check if I can share now. Okay, stop sharing. I can see now. Maybe I'll share now. So I'm going to share you because we have a lot of people asking questions, right? Okay, here, the immigration website. Here, okay, here. Okay, can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, now the immigration website here. Now, this is one, if Adi Adi completed bachelor, dia punya banyak skill karena dia punya kualifikasi. Oke, make sense. Bahasa Inggris 5,5. Oke, ada bahasa Inggrisnya. Tapi salah satu visa adalah visa subclass 190. Oke. Now, let's look at eligibility. Persyaratan. Oke, persyaratannya. Anda harus diundang dulu, jangan ke situ dulu. Mari kita lihat ke sini. Oke, umur, oke, harus di bawah 45. untuk bekerja di Australia, masuk dan bekerja, salah satu contoh visa adalah visa nomor 190. Namanya skill nominated visa. Oke. Jadi Adi itu paling tidak umurnya di bawah 45. Oke. Seperti presiden, menjadi presiden di bawah 45, bukan di atas 45. Oke. Now, itu persyaratan umurnya. Yang kedua, harus bisa mencapai poin 65. Poin adalah sistem yang digunakan di Australia untuk masuk dan bekerja, minimal 65. Nah, kalau bahasa Inggrisnya Adi 5,5, maka dia tidak masuk kategori kompeten. Kompeten English pun tidak ada poinnya. Oke? Nah, Anda bisa lihat di sini, kalau dia misalnya cuma nilainya 5,5, itu tidak ada nilainya, poinnya. Jadi tidak akan membantu. Jadi Adi sama sekali tidak bisa sama sekali untuk masuk ke Australia dan bekerja dengan cuma ijazah sarjana pendidikan PAUD, dari PAUD plus IELTS 5,5. Tidak ada pengalaman kerja, bahasa Inggris tidak cukup. Oke? Jadi itu sederhananya. Saya share lagi kembali. Saya punya presentasi. Oke, wait, bear with me please. Window. Oke. Next one. Nah, berarti sebenarnya Adi tidak bisa masuk ke Australia. Dan saya tahu di yang sekarang hadir ini rata-rata adalah Adi. Oke, let's just assuming like that. Nah, sebenarnya visa option untuk Adi itu tadi yang kita maksud multiple entry ya, makanya saya bilang Adi itu bisa sebenarnya masuk dengan work and holiday visa subclass 465. Jadi dengan itu Adi karena sudah punya IELTS, minimal IELTS itu 5,5, oke? Dapat Adi. Adi bisa bekerja dengan visa ini, Adi bisa bekerja di kafe, bisa bekerja di hospitality, tapi tidak bisa bekerja di child care center, oke? Nah, jadi Adi cuma bisa bekerja di kafe atau di restoran sebagai pelayan atau di kebun sebagai pemetik. So Adi can only work in the cafe, in a restaurant, or even in the farm. Memetik anggur, memetik apel, okay? And pilihan kedua yang paling menurut saya adalah masuk akal. Dari tadi kita sudah mendengarkan Brandon adalah yang paling murah, masuk akal, dan membuat Adi bisa bekerja di Child Care Center adalah mengambil visa nomor 500. Dengan visa 500 Adi bisa bekerja, oke, Adi bisa bekerja selama 20 jam per minggu. Adi can work 48 hours, dan Adi juga bisa belajar selama 20 minggu. Jadi total 48 jam. Oke. Tetapi Adi harus mendaftar di salah satu jurusan, misalnya jurusan sertifikat 3 in early childhood education. Oke. Nah, bolehkah Adi masuk ke Australia dengan turis visa dan bekerja? Tidak boleh sama sekali. Oke. Nah, untuk bekerja berarti harus mendaftar visa nomor ini 500. Nah, visa 500 itu berapa biayanya? Unfortunately sekarang harganya sangat mahal, tetapi tidak ada, everything needs money. Sementara biayanya adalah 19 juta. Dan persyaratannya yang paling penting Anda harus terdaftar dan sudah membayar paling tidak 1 term, 3 bulan. Oke, jadi sebenarnya yang dibilang tadi Brendan 20 juta itu tidak harus dibayar, 20.000 itu tidak harus dibayar langsung. Oke, jadi itu visanya. Saya kembali ke sini. Oke, let me go this one. Oke, now let me go back to my presentation. do you have question for now? No? So far? Ada pertanyaan? Nggak ada. Oke, saya lanjut lagi. Oke, nah berarti Adi tidak qualified untuk bekerja karena tadi nilai bahasa Inggrisnya rendah. Oke, kemudian juga tidak ada pengalaman. Nah, berarti pilihannya adalah visa subclass working holiday atau visa student atau nomor 500. Nah, dengan itu bisa bekerja, you can work 48 hours, okay? But you must make sure you also study for 20 hours. So 20 hours working, 20 hours studies. And after that, what you can gain, okay? Once you completed your qualification certificate 3, then you can continue with visa 485, which allows you to gain experience for 2 years in Australia. Dan itu tidak perlu lagi belajar. You don't have to study, you just need to work. Next, now, jadi apa persyaratannya untuk mendapatkan student visa itu adalah membayar biaya pendaftaran. You have to pay the enrollment fee. Tidak harus membayar sekaligus. Anda bisa membayar hanya 1 term, 3 bulan. Itu biayanya jauh lebih murah. You can afford it. Dan center akan mengeluarkan confirmation of enrollment. Dan nanti kami dari Hypen akan membantu dengan genuine temporary entrance. This is the most important document. Alasan mengapa Anda harus belajar di Australia dan mengapa Anda memilih jurusan itu dan apa rencana Anda. Dan tentu saja Anda harus punya, you must have IELTS minimum 5.5. Alright. Now, that's why I include pusat bahasa in this conversation, which I will show you later. Pilihannya adalah pusat bahasa akan membantu Anda untuk mendapatkan poin ini, oke? Atau pilihan lain, kalau tidak punya IELTS, you can still apply, but you must pay at least 40 weeks early course. Jadi kursus bahasa Anda belajar dulu bahasa Inggris di Australia selama 40 minggu karena tidak punya IELTS sama sekali. Oke, kemudian Anda juga harus membayar asuransi kesehatan atau namanya International Health Insurance for International Student. Biayanya seperti apa? Mungkin nanti kita bisa konsultasi, tapi saya akan menjawab pertanyaan karena kadang-kadang ketika berbicara uang itu sangat menakutkan. Oke, tetapi bisa dilihat di sini biayanya saya kasihkan secara ini saja. Jadi yang paling penting itu adalah the most important one is the visa application. Ini tidak bisa dikembalikan kalau misalnya tidak lulus, itu 16 juta. Asuransi itu mulai dari 5 juta, oke, tergantung dari berapa lama Anda studi. Nah, Anda juga harus menyediakan bukti keuangan, dan kemudian tadi Hary sudah memperlihatkan berapa biaya kuliahnya. Nah, biaya kuliah ini sebenarnya bisa dicicil, oke? You don't have to pay it all. Anda bisa bekerja dan Anda bisa membayar uang kuliah juga bersamaan, oke? Nah, poin saya adalah kenapa menyebut magang, karena sebenarnya dengan konsep KKTC, with the KKTC, not only you learn, but you also have at the same time magang or placement, oke? Jadi pengalaman selama di placement bisa memperkuat peluang Anda untuk mendapat pekerjaan, karena when you apply for a job, you need your resume and you need reference. Siapa yang akan menjadi reference Anda selain guru? Karena paling tidak di Australia you need 2 references. Okay? You must have your teacher and your previous manager. That's why magang will help you land a job or get a job in Australia. Okay, now I'm just gonna play this video very short. This is pusat bahasa. Let me know if you can. I think I will just the short one. Maybe this one's. Jadi pusat bahasa itu memberikan pelatihan bahasa Inggris.
We cannot see the video, Bu Andi.
Oh, you can't see the video. Sorry, stop sharing. Okay, let me just see. Okay, sorry. Okay, let me just see if I can share that. So, Chrome pusat bahasa. Let's just see. Okay, sorry. Can you see it now?
Not yet. We still cannot see it.
Sorry, I really have problem with the Zoom. Okay, from top. Can you see it now?
Yes, you can see it.
fluently. Connect globally.
Okay, thank you. Let me just go back here. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So, as you can see that, sebenarnya kalau bicara duit, alright, when you talk about money and when you talk about Australia, alright, I understand that we get used to with LPDP, beasiswa LPDP, ataupun kata beasiswa or scholarship. I just have to let you know that this is not a scholarship, but there is a chance that you might get scholarship when you are in Australia. The other thing that I want to highlight is that maybe it sounds expensive, but actually you can afford it because you have the chance also to study and work at the same time. Jadi sebenarnya mampu aja, yang penting bisa usaha karena tidak. Saya juga mulai sebagai you can afford it, alright? This is what when people hear the dollar amount 20,000 AUD, oh my God, that's a lot. No, don't worry. Okay, I want to invite, before I end this presentation, I have one of my client here who's willing to give a 5 minutes testimony. Ruby, are you here? Ruby?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Ruby, can you please share, like the first time you come to Australia, how long it take you to pay back the utang? Karena Ruby juga pinjam duit. Kemudian how long then it takes for you to get a work, and where are you now, and what's your next plan? Thank you, Ruby.
Okay, so
introduce yourself.
Halo, perkenalkan nama saya Ruby. Sekarang saya sedang belajar di Sydney, Australia. Sudah sekitar hampir almost 3 years. Yeah, this year is 3 years. Aku dibantu sama Kak Arma untuk pemberangkatan aku ke sini, dan studi yang aku ambil kukri selama 1,5 tahun, dan lanjut lagi hospitality selama 1,5 tahun. Kebetulan sekarang aku bekerja.
Bentar, Ruby, soal pembayarannya, Ruby mampu nggak di awal itu bagaimana ceritanya? Can you share that, please?
Oke. Untuk pembayaran itu aku di awal, karena kan kita student itu hanya bisa bekerja selama 24 jam per week. Jadi kalau aku bisa savingnya itu melalui seperti biaya kebutuhan sehari-hari seperti makan atau transport. Itu tuh kayak makan kita sebisa mungkin masak. Transport kalau misalnya
Sorry, about the fee, tuition fee-nya, biaya pendaftarannya, how do you start first? Like, do you have the money? What did you do? And how do you then again, can afford it yourself?
Untuk nabungnya berapa lama? Nabung
betul.
Untuk payback money.
Jadi Ruby ceritanya pinjam duit dulu kan untuk mulai?
Iya.
Can you talk about that? Oke.
Iya, jadi kebetulan aku juga dulu pinjam uang ke saudara aku untuk pembayaran sekolah aku di sini, dan aku bisa bayar itu kembali itu selama kurang dari 1 tahun.
Oke.
Iya, sekitar 7 bulan. 7 bulan itu udah lunas.
Oke, 7 bulan. Oke, lanjut. How did you make 7 bulan? Dari mana duitnya dibayar itu? Ruby bikin apa?
Aku kerja part-time di sini. Kerja part-time. Jadi kerja 24 jam per week itu aku pergunain untuk biaya tuition fee aku, sama aku juga nabung untuk payback money yang aku pinjam di keluarga aku dulu. Gitu.
And where are you now? Where are you working at the moment?
Sekarang aku tinggal di Sydney. Kebetulan aku sekarang kerja di childcare sebagai chef di sana. Jadi aku join meeting di sini juga aku karena interested juga sama programnya Kak Arma yang ini.
So what's your next plan?
Untuk next plan aku masih pikir-pikir juga, tapi mungkin aku bakalan ambil early childcare juga sih.
Oke. Apakah sudah ada dana tabungannya?
Untuk next visanya ya?
Yes. Dari mana? Dari bekerja kan?
Iya.
Thank you very much, Ruby,
Thank you so
for
much,
your
Kak Arma.
testimony. Oke, alright. Nah itu tadi testimoni dari Ruby. Oke, nah Ruby ini sebenarnya pekerja keras. Waktu masuk ke Australia itu usianya 19 tahun, masih muda. Oke, pinjam uang dari omnya. Ruby doesn't have money, so she got a loan from her uncle. But you can also get loan anywhere. Bisa juga asal jangan pinjol. Oke. Nah, you can get loan anywhere to start it. Nah, sekarang pertanyaannya paling penting, mungkin semua akan bertanya, berapa sih modal awalnya? Modal awalnya itu paling, Ibu Indra selalu menekankan jangan terlalu rendah. Saya biasanya bilang 100 juta cukup. Oke, untuk mulai, atau 120 juta. Alright, you can afford it. Sama dengan Anda masuk kedokteran. Oke. Nah, 100 juta cukup. Itu untuk dapat masuk ke Australia, visa, sudah mendaftar term pertama, kemudian sudah ada accommodation dan biaya asuransi kesehatan dan uang tiket return. Oke. So that's Modal awal. Nah, tadi menyambung kepada Brandon dan Hary. Jadi sebenarnya Anda bisa magang idealnya dengan mendaftar sertifikat 3 di KKTC. Alright, you can apply certificate 3 only it's cheaper, but I always recommend ambil sertifikat 3 plus diploma because it will dia lebih murah dan it will allows you to stay more in Australia, to gain experience, to also work in Australia. Karena kalau dia sekitar diploma, ambil sertifikat 3 dan diploma, biasanya visa yang dikeluarkan itu bisa sampai 5 tahun. So you can live, study in Australia for 5 years. Anda modal 150 juta, but remember, uang kuliahnya dicicil. Dan tadi sudah dengar dari Ruby, ya, Ruby bisa sampai sekarang. By the way, Ruby sudah semester terakhir. Semua dari hasil keringat Ruby sendiri, oke? Kerja keras, tidak dibantu sama sekali sama orang tuanya. So that's my presentation, all of it. If you have questions, yeah, you can ask.
Thank you, Ibu Andi. So if you have any questions, please use the raise hand feature or just type it in the chat box. You can also ask in bahasa Indonesia. Silakan bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia. Bisa juga. Okay, while we're waiting for other question, I want to ask Ibu Andi, while we are doing the placement, will we get a salary from that or no? When we are doing the teaching placement?
I think that question should be addressed to, is Brendan still here in Hary?
Yes, we're still here. Yes, they do get paid, Tree. It's paid employment, so they're getting paid the same time they study, which makes it quite a unique model. Yes, they do.
Oh, I didn't know that, Brendan. Sorry, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our students get there and they're allowed to get paid. We've actually, Hary and I have been listening the whole process, and we can put up at the end another slide which gives you some options as to what from here we think are the best options, because Andi's done a fantastic job in communicating to you some of the visa options, because it can become quite complex, and she's done a fantastic job. And we've been listening the whole time saying, well, from our perspective, there's probably 3 really good options for students. Because they can start studying online immediately, and then they follow up with a study tour to do their prac, or they can come and do a shorter study tour after their bachelor's degree, or they can become a regular Cricos student. So if you will follow up after this meeting with an email that outlines the options, but we can put them up later in the presentation if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the answer.
Thank you, Brendan. Ya, saya tambahkan sedikit dari Brendan itu sebenarnya I was not sorry. I think the feasible and the most interesting options for you is 500, because it allows you to experience, all right, the study you need. Okay, you completed you completed Bachelor of Early Childhood, right? But it's not the same. I have to let you know, unfortunately, all right, there are a lot of standard operational safety, working with your children, a lot of things that you must gain by doing certificate 3, very basic entry. Now, kalau you doing it online, you're not gonna experience that. So therefore I encourage you to come and experience dengan visa 500. Buat saya itu yang paling, menurut saya ya, masuk akal. Dan sudah dengar tadi dari Ruby, you can, okay, even if you don't have money. That's why what we call usaha, niat.
Well, thank you for your answers. For Ibu Andi, after we finish our education, so probably we won't use visa 500 anymore, right? So setelah itu Bu, kira-kira seperti apa planningnya, dan bisa tolong jelaskan jenis visa seperti apa ke depannya yang kita bisa urus setelah visa 500, karena kita sudah employed, kita sudah bukan student lagi.
Okay, that's very good question karena Ruby juga sedang sekarang berada di masa itu. Ruby yang tadi menjelaskan, Ruby is now almost completed her advanced diploma in hospitality. Is it hospitality, right? Advanced diploma in hospitality, and I advise her. The next visa is graduate visa atau 485. With this visa allows you to work for 2 years, okay? 2 years in any part of Australia, in any state. Biayanya tidak banyak, okay? But it allows you only 2 years, okay? To gain experience and work in Australia. But then what next? You want to go home to Indonesia? Okay, now that's why Ruby I discussed with Ruby what is the option. So the other option is like this, because you're still young, okay, you can also choose to study again, but that's why we are here, Hypen, to give you advice what is the next step. Seperti Ruby, karena ceritanya Ruby itu, kasusnya, Ruby itu selesai, dia di work placement, dan saya bilang cari kerja secepatnya, because we were thinking that she is going to apply what's next visa, right? After you complete your study, you can either apply for graduate visa, visa pengalaman kerja, okay, selama 2 tahun, atau kalau Anda sudah punya banyak pengalaman, you can straight away apply with permanent visa. Oke, tinggal secara permanen di Australia, tapi bukan citizen seperti visa saya. 190, oke? Tetapi apakah sudah memenuhi, tadi saya bilang Anda belum punya banyak pengalaman kerja. Karena kalau cuma 2 tahun pengalaman kerja, kecuali tadi dengan Brandon, with Brandon experience, Brandon explanation that you have work placement, yeah, then you have more experience. However, that work placement, it's good for your reference to get a job. Okay, now you can only, that qualification, that experience only counted by the immigration once you pay tax, once you complete your qualification. Jadi cuman bisa dihitung pengalamannya ketika Anda, when you have the qualification, that's the starting point of the counting. Oke, nah makanya kenapa Ruby itu, karena dia cuma di Australia itu tinggal 3 tahun. Ruby has been living in Australia for 3 years. Oke, work as a chef. Oke, only for 1 year. Is it right, Ruby? Now, sekarang Ruby berpikir, karena Ruby is working at the moment in childcare center, but as a chef. Nggak cukup itu 1 tahun. That's why Ruby want to extend the study. But the other option is you can apply for graduate visa and work, and then you can also apply for another visa, or you can try to apply for scholarship from Australia. Is that answer the question?
Yes. Well, thank you, Ibu Andi. Thank you. If there's no more questions for our audience, I think this concludes our session today. So thank you so much for Ibu Andi and other speakers for giving us a very, very good information on how to study in Australia. And I hope all the audience will also will be interested in study and also work in Australia. And I just like to remind all the participants, we have shared the attendance form in the chat box, so you can fill out you can open the link and fill out the form if you want to get the certificate. So please open the chat box. We have already shared it. Okay. Before we finish our session today, I'd like to as a token of appreciation, we would like to invite our representative from the Faculty of Education to give a certificate of appreciation to our speakers. We would like to invite Dr. Asisa Amal to present the certificate. for our speakers today.
Nih, kan tidak ada. Kita ngomong. Oh.
Dr. Aziza.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Sorry, Delphi, ini for Brandon and Mrs. Brandon and
This one is for Dr. Andi, and there's another one for Mr. Brandon and Mr. Hary.
Okay.
There will be another certificate. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you move your
Thank
face
you.
closer to the camera? We cannot see your face.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can see now.
Yeah, thank you. It has been an absolute privilege to have such esteemed individuals with us today. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Andi Armawadjidah Marzuki, has brought a unique perspective that enriched the conversation, and we are truly grateful. Thank you for your insightful presentation. We present this certificate as token of our appreciation. Thank you. Okay, Delphi, next. Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
The next one will be for Mr. Brandon and Mr. Hary. We're trying to show you the certificate, so please wait a minute. This one is for Mr. Brandon. Silakan, Bu.
Okay, it has been an absolute privilege to have such esteemed individuals with us today. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Brandon Newell, has brought a unique perspective that enriched the conversation. We are truly grateful. Thank you for your insightful presentation. We present this certificate as token of our appreciation.
Madam Makasi, thank you very much.
Okay, and the last one for Mr. Hary.
Okay, thank you. It has been an absolute privilege to have such esteemed individuals with us today. Our keynote speaker has a unique perspective that enriched the conversation, and we are truly grateful. Thank you for Mr. Hary Clark. Insight presentation as a token of our appreciation. Thank
you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bu Aziza. For our audience, can you please mute your speakers?
Can you please mute your speakers?
Okay, so that concludes our session for today. Reminder once again, make sure you fill out the attendance form for today's event. You can find the link in the chat box, and we'll probably send the link in WhatsApp group as well. Once again, thank you so much for our speakers. That was very, very insightful, and I hope lots of our students here, our graduates here, will be interested in studying in Australia, especially in KKTC, and try to get the 500 visa first, and then get the next one next. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and very great information. We hope this session has inspired and equipped our audience to the next steps in our global journey in early childhood education. And on behalf of the organizing team, we truly appreciate your time and participation, and see you at our next event. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Brandon, Hary, and
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
That was